Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today I'm joined by the crew.
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Dave.
So today we have a question from our longtime viewer, Art Wood. He's kind of asking the question of how do you scale your GM material up and down based on the number of players? Sometimes that's variable. Sometimes you get flaky people in your games, or sometimes just life and shit happens.
Yeah, like apparently these guys are actually writing material before the game happens, and then they don't know what to do when they plan for one thing and something else actually happens, whether it's more or less.
Well, frankly, that's where the problem goes awry. You need to know who's actually showing up and whatnot before you're really looking at your encounter base. But I mean,
But that's impossible.
But even if you don't have the capability to see into the future or have hard commitments before.
Pro tip number 1: see into the future.
So become a diviner wizard.
That was a jest, but really you can look at at how many players you have, how many people you're going to reliably get at the table, and be able to say, all right, well, I'm planning to put in 4 orcs for this encounter. If everybody shows up, I'll make it 5. If I lose 2 or 3 people, I'll drop it down to 3. You should be able to play with the number of creatures, and if you're looking at, oh, I've got a big bad for this encounter, say like, oh, there's an ogre. Well, then have him drop a few hit dice, or
Put him at a disadvantage to start. Like maybe he's sleeping and wakes up when everybody's there, so he's got to stand up beforehand.
Or he's drunk. So another thing too is like build your encounters based off of your reliables that actually show up, and then like in your back pocket you're like, all right, well, if these other 2 players that are kind of flaky show up, well, reinforcements show up, or I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
too.
the second wave.
Yeah, or like more of like his sort of like subservient guys, along with the big bad. Like it's the same thing too. Is if your players start like killing off your monsters too quickly, and the encounter looks like it's wrapping up before like like your monsters got a thing in edgewise. Like always have like that second wave of enemies show up. Yeah, like
you can do the second wave, but in addition to that, if you have an encounter planned, If you've got too many players, give the monster the surprise round. Set it up so that he's going to get the jump on them. If there's not enough players, set it up so the players get the surprise round. It's very easy to just change that dynamic, and it's still the same encounter, but if the monster gets to go first, I mean, especially in 5th edition, it's possible to drop someone before they even have a chance to go in low levels. So
There's 2 variables that I'm okay playing with too. Is like the encounter was too easy, or it was on the hard side. As long as you think they can survive it, and it just depletes more of their resources and it's tougher. Like I get, granted, you're not going to want to go through your whole session that way,
right?
But you can let some of them ride. It's perfectly fine. Like you don't have to make every combat a slogfest for your players to enjoy. Sometimes it just feels good for them to rip through the monsters, or struggle a little bit,
or have to take a tactical retreat because things are going bad. Where like their concerns towards a certain point in the encounter is I might have to just grab my party member and see if I can get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you know what, and that's very viable as well. But what you might want to do is the DM go, hey guys, you're down a few players. I haven't adjusted my material yet, so you guys might want to adjust your play style. Thank your friends that didn't show up.
And a Full Metal Jacket sort of blanket party sort of way.
Don't forget to tip your waitresses. On your way
I mean,
out.
because like it comes back to the thing that like you do want your players to feel a certain level of danger and peril, right? So like that's a nice way to do it.
Yeah, your cleric didn't show up. You should feel really like you're in danger tonight.
and you just won't be asking for just a little bit of peril.
Yeah. But then on the other side, like, don't do anything with your encounters and see how it's playing out and adjust on the fly, like just as you could have reinforcements show up for the enemy, you could have them show up on your side, on the player side as well, but make it interesting. Don't make it just the NPCs save the day thing where that gets old real fast. Absolutely. And don't use it every encounter.
You could also have the enemy's retreat.
Like if they're taking losses that are like pretty heavy, they could want to leave the field.
I mean, 50% losses is enough to shake the morale of anything that can honestly think for itself. So if you've got there's 10 orcs and the wizard drops a fireball, so one move and five of them drop. Those guys are gonna be like, do I want to stay for this? Oh wait, I got a dentist appointment.
Well, and on that same token as well. You could have it that your monsters have completed their objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, objective. They object.
I don't want to die.
They become lawyers. They start taking their barrister exams.
Yeah, the orcs with their ties and briefcases.
Overruled. Yeah.
But yeah, they complete the objective and they just leave because there's no reason to continue fighting.
Yeah. Or they take the players slave hostages.
Well, that's too. That's true too. If you go down, you could switch it up and on the fly have them taken prisoner, and you don't have to. Here's the other thing, and I think this is one of the problems a lot of DMs struggle with. They feel like they have to have an explanation to give their players when they do something. You don't owe them anything. Like Spoonie would say, "Yeah, isn't that odd?" When the players question something. They don't have all the information, so there's no reason to treat them like they have all the information. And sometimes you need to tell them you don't have all the information.
So even if you don't have all the information,
give them that perception.
Give them that perception that you do, and you have between now and next session
to figure out
what the explanation is that you still don't need to give them.
Yeah. So I don't like to heavy hand that. I like to still convince them that I actually know what I'm talking about. So I say, I've got two suggestions. Yeah. One is equipment exchange and Schrodinger's hut. So the equipment exchange is, I took some goblins and I said, well, I'm going to have some goblins that have their bows already. They're like archer, warrior kind of thing. No class levels or anything. They're all still stinking goblins with 7 hit points or whatever they've got. I had some of them with the shields. And then I said, some of these are going to be like striker type goblins. And they've actually got 2 scimitars rather than a scimitar and a shield. And just having 3 goblins with that changed the battle completely. Goblins that already had their bows out waiting to shoot at something, and goblins that had 2 scimitars and just used their bonus action pretty much to use the extra scimitar instead of having that extra 2 armor class for the shield. So that's my equipment exchange. You could also go the other way and maybe the ogre lost his club, so he's actually using a small piece of a tree that isn't as nice as his club, so maybe it does less damage, but that's just his disadvantage.
Right. Or you can have fun with it and be like, he likes to get up close and personal. He likes to punch people.
Yeah. Maybe he just grabs a rock and hits you with it.
Or is a pugilist.
And the other one is the Schrodinger's hut, where I say, well, there's 3 orcs out, sitting around the fire. Are there 2 orcs in the hut, or are there no orcs in the hut? And that's all going to be determined on what happens to those 3 orcs and what I wanted the combat to actually feel like. And I don't have a big deal like this combat's supposed to be hard, and if they walk through it, well, I don't care. They walk through it. But I still want them to have fun. So if I think it's going to improve their overall enjoyment of the combat and the game in general, if I put 2 orcs in there or if I don't put 2 orcs in that hut, then that's what I do.
Also, too, the thing that if you have a player like the rogue sneak up and try and figure out if there is somebody in the hut, it rewards either the expectation that there was somebody in the hut or kind of confirming that there wasn't. Mm-hmm. It rewards that choice that they made, and it's also, then at that point your determination of, well, now I have to make a call. Is there anybody in the hut? Yeah. Or
is
not?
It wrong that I want to use the opportunity to have 2 orcs nab the rogue and just beat the crap out of him? This grunt coming out.
I mean, if they fails a sneak,
if he rolls a 1, yeah, or
it fails a sneak, yeah.
Only because it just reminded me of a comment. We're talking about how the rogue is always sneaking off and doing dangerous shit. But I'm like, well, you know what? There should be consequences for that too, as well. Sometimes.
Well, for failure, absolutely.
And if I just the vision of one orc holding the rogue and another one working him over, it just seems funny to me.
Punching them in the ribs.
Yeah.
So
you're a horrible
slapping
person.
Him with a piece of meat.
So you can scale hit points, up or down as need be. You can scale numbers up or down as need be.
Armor class damage.
You can scale with using shields, or better or worse armor. So you're scaling armor class. You can scale the damage by changing out weapons. You can use a second wave or a retreat to either add or deplete numbers from an encounter.
assistant NPCs that don't take over the game.
Assistant NPCs that just add a couple targets and a couple attacks that you don't even have to roll. You can just narrate. As
Hell,
we talked about.
You know what? And another along the lines of the assistant and NPC, friendly NPCs, just beneficial terrain things happen. So you're fighting in a dilapidated building or warehouse. Part of the ceiling caves in on the orcs. You know, it just happens to fall that way. You as the GM to like give your players the idea that there's some randomness. You can roll, never tell them the outcome of this. But like, you know, so you roll some dice behind the thing. Oh, the beams fell on the orcs. You know, like, or one group of them because I didn't scale their counter right.
Or if the counter is really easy for them, you could
have it on the party.
Have it on the party. Yeah, dex checks everybody.
Yeah. And then, you know, they hear a laughing goblin up in the rafters. Or something.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, they could get pinned down.
I think that is a massive amount of ways that you can, you know, change your encounters, you know, because of, you know, lack of party showing up or
Well, we should address one more thing real quick.
What else you got?
Play the goddamn game and don't cancel because some douche didn't show. Whether whether it was a good reason or not, just play the game because, look, you know, I don't know. I know Art is our age, a little bit older. I don't know how old the guys and gals he's playing with are, but as grown ass adults with full on lives, someone will always probably not be able to make it on last minute as well.
No matter how much they love the game.
We've talked about this in other videos, and I've been a big proponent in years past about I don't like to play unless everybody's here, but you know,
it's a great way to end your game.
It's a great way to have a story fizzle. It's a great way to be like, well, somebody else has got to run something because I'm not doing. Get over yourself, figure out a way to make it happen, and just be creative because ultimately you're the DM. You're creating something, so. It's one more thing you have to create, one more thing to worry about. Just get over it and play. It's what you and your friends are there to do. So have fun and let it happen.
One minor point, or it could be that this person just would rather not play D&D, and that's the excuse to not play D&D.
Well, either way.
Yeah, I mean, so either way, you're in the same boat.
That's fully in the douche category. Yeah. If you don't have the balls to go, hey, I don't actually want to play this game with you guys anymore, but I'm not going to tell you.
Or as frequently, like maybe you want a game every other month or however.
Well, I mean, if you're the DM and you're not, you know, seriously wanting to play the game, tell the players, you know, that goes back to expectation. Tell the players how often you want to run. And set the game for that. If everybody wants to get together every Saturday to do something and you want to run every other week, tell them, hey, I'm going to run my campaign, you know, every odd week. We can still get together and play board games or somebody else can pick up a session. You know, we used to have a DM.
Or I don't even want to look at you guys on that off week.
Yeah. Don't text me.
You smell funny.
we used to play every single week, same DM, you know, until... you know, the story ended or until we moved on to something else. You know, now I think our creative juices are able to flow a lot better because we have, you know, 4 games that we run. They're spread out so that it's not just one GM doing everything every single week. But yet we still get together all the time.
Except for when that 2 of those games happen in the same week on the same GM. Well, that's a little rough for some of us.
That's kind of tough for one person today.
But F that guy.
Yeah, screw that guy.
I wasn't going to say F that guy. I was going to say, you know, we just got to work on scheduling better. That's all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, scheduling adults, it's hard. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Comments below, like, share, and subscribe. You know the drill.
You can check us out over on nerdarchy.com.
You can go over there and check out the store.
You also check out Funny Memes on Facebook.
So until next time, stay nerdy.